G'day legends, g'day superstars. Peps back with another pre-season preview, and it's time for the magnificence of the Essendon Football Club. It's been a while since they've had a finals win. Everybody knows that, but it's 2023 going to be the season that they break the 18, almost 19-year drought. Look, I'm not the person who cares that point, let's be honest. But I've got the great man Teddy joining us tonight to have a chat about his team, the Essendon Bombers, and more importantly, new coach, new captain, potentially a new outlook on life. Teddy, welcome to Lace Out.
Peps, thanks for having me.
Mate, I am a little bit lost with Essendon. I think a lot of Essendon supporters are a little bit lost with the way that they've been over the last couple of years. I remember very fondly round one against Geelong, camping, sitting there watching the big screen, and boys are so excited. Essendon, what are they going to serve up? Oh, I reckon we're a chance now. I reckon about 15 minutes in, it was like, let's head back to camp and have a few more beers because the season is pretty much over.
Yeah, the tune changed pretty quickly there in round one for me as well. So we're all up and about after Rutten got us into the 8, and we thought, look, we can only go up from here. And we come crashing back to earth pretty quickly, didn't we?
Yeah, it was very quick. It was probably the quickest I've seen in quite a while, where supporters who are very passionate about their club just went, oh, not again. We can't do this again. We can't go through this again. And like you said, we've had a change in captain, change of coach, some off-field shifts have also occurred in the last 12 to 18 months, which is probably what the club has needed. But where do you see them going in 2023? Will there be a rise? Will there not be a rise? What from your outlook can you say?
I don't see them being much better than they were last year. So
I love the honesty.
I've penciled in maybe 7 wins, 10 if we're travelling well. But knowing Essendon's injuries that we get every year and the way our physical staff look after us, we'll have about 12 players missing, and we'll scrape into winning 7 games, I reckon. So,
and you'll have your one-paced midfield who are all 6'1" in height.
Yep, and they don't chase, and they don't do any defensive pressure. Yep.
No, they're downhill skiers at the finest, aren't they?
Yep.
It's it was an interesting one looking at last year. Like, even if you have a look at your average winning margin was 26 points, but average losing was 25. So you either, all right, we won by 4, but it was almost 6 goal losses every single time, and that's average because there would have been some big ones, especially after that round one. Rutten promised so much and didn't deliver, and now you've got Scotty taking over the reins. What have you seen so far? Thoughts on the play style, what you've seen over the practice games?
Probably going back to the Rutten thing, I don't think it was the right move at the time. When Worsfold came in, he sort of came in and just to paper over the cracks, and we just needed that type of guy there, and he was working under Worsfold, and I feel like we just got much of the same. So I'm glad they made the move and they brought Brad Scott in. I'm hoping he brings sort of a bit more of a defensive grunt, is probably the word I'm looking for, to our game style. Like, we just leak goals. We haven't got a great defence. Our midfield, as I said, doesn't run both ways. So if we can fix that side of the game, which I'm hoping Brad Scott can bring across. I've seen some of the pre-season where look, that St Kilda game we got pantsed, but they only kicked 10 goals still. So they didn't just smash on goals on the board. We had the same amount of scoring shots, and we played absolutely putrid footy. So looking at that, hopefully he can just bring that a little bit more structure behind the ball. And look, the thing that frustrated me the most about Essendon was they'd kick it out from fullback, and the next minute be in the opposition's forward line in about 20 seconds, so 10 seconds. So if we can stop that, I'll be happy.
Well, when you were talking about your defensive or lack of defensive pressure, you can even just have a look at some of the stats from last year, which sums it up. 17th in tackles per game, 12th for inside 50. So you couldn't get it, and then if you did, you weren't actually putting it into the 50 as well too. 12th in rebound 50s per game, 15th in clearances, 16th in clangers. Like, it just, whatever was supposed to happen from a midfield perspective, it just didn't kick.
It looked like we didn't want to be there half the time, to be honest.
well, is that the players or the supporters?
Both.
Yep, both. No, I understand that. And look, Dyson Heppel's obviously handed the reins over to a new captain.
Yep.
Is he a captain like you can see running around for, when I say running around, taking control for the next few years, or is it a stopgap moving into like a Redmond or something along those lines?
Yeah, look, I don't want to sound all down in the dumps about the Bombers, mate, because I do love them. But, yeah, I don't see it being, the master move, the next captain for the next 8-9 years and leads us to a premiership. I can't see that happening. Is he the right guy to do it right now? Yeah, 100%. Will he be doing it in 3 years' time? Probably not. So
and it makes you think, because you're sitting there going, all right, who's next? Who's next? Who's the next bright spot?
Yeah.
And, you perfect example. You look at Brisbane and they've got Ashcroft sitting in the wings. You look at North Melbourne, the two young blokes that they brought in at the moment, and they look like they've got that spunk. They can take it. And I look at Essendon, I'm going, I can't see who the next one is.
Well, McGrath.
And if there was the actual next one, you picked him up in the supplementary draft last year. Good old Nick Martin comes out, kicks 5 on debut, ends up 8th in your best and fairest for a bloke that nobody picked up as well too. So it either says a lot about him, or it didn't say much about the rest of the list as well too. If a new guy who came in at the last moment ends up 8th in the best and fairest over people such as Hind, Shield, Parrish. Yeah, and that's what we're not here to be all doom and gloom, but that's just the reality at the moment where they're sort of sitting.
Yeah, look, going back to the point about the captain, I think McGrath was probably that next one, which is he just hasn't come on. And then we've got a massive big gap there, and Martin coming in and doing what he does and being in our best 22 easily. It doesn't say a whole lot, does it, for the rest of the guys? I heard him on another chat. Get an interview the other day, and someone said to him, "At what stage in round one did you realise you're Essendon's best player?" Look, I wasn't far off agreeing with that at the time, but look, he's sensational. He is great. He's going to be hopefully that take his game to the next level this year and be a really good attribute for us. I just hope he can. He's only been there for. What's he been there for, 12 months or just over 12 months? I hope he can bring a few guys along with him, really, and which is, you don't really want to say that about a guy that's just walked in the door, but it's just the sad fact at the moment. We haven't been anywhere for a while, and it doesn't look like we're going anywhere for a while. So I hope it can all change nice and quickly.
Yeah, look, you need a strong Essendon. We need to see some of that red and black arrogance walking around, and actually having a bit of right. Because if you're from where I am, Western Melbourne, right, the red and black flows through the suburbs, and when they're up and about, outside of Richmond supporters, there's not many outside of the Essendon that are not that annoying. It's like, come on.
Yeah,
so we've had a bit of a break for quite a while. So
I'll be one of them too, mate. I'll be absolutely shoving in all my mates' faces and that. And you know what? I've waited long enough. So
Good. I tell you what, though, there was one bloke last year who set it alight, and it was really good to see. We're talking about 2 metre Peter. Peter Wright comes from the Suns. I think he got him for basically chocolate chips. There wasn't much that you had to pay out for him, and he's come out. He's won the best and fairest, had an absolute cracker, 53 goals, 26. So he could have kicked 60 plus for the season. But from a reliable kick perspective, he's one of the best in the league. So if you can get the ball in his hands a hell of a lot more, which you'd love to. Like I said, if you came in at 12th in inside 50s and he was still able to kick 53 for the season, what would you do if you'd be able to get that to 10th, 9th inside 50s?
Yeah, well, look, we did get him for a pack of chips, and the big 7-seater Peter. He, I think he's going to benefit from having Wiedemann come into the side.
Yeah.
We don't help him by kicking it into the forward when he's got 3 blokes on him. But when he gets it, mate, you can almost write it down. So I don't think he can be any closer. He's not going to get close to a Coleman because we don't win enough games. But as you said, 50-odd goals in that side with that type of delivery is a bloody good effort. And for what we got him for, I think it was just a confidence thing with him. He had guys in front of him the whole time at Gold Coast that, like Lynch and who's the old mate from Port Adelaide? Dixon. A few of those guys have just always been in front of him. Ben King was there towards the end of him being there, who was getting played in front of him. So, I think he really, really runs on confidence. Get a bit of confidence into him, and he's unstoppable. Which we've been crying out for someone like that since sort of Lloyd and Lucas left. So
he is just one of the best kicks in the league, bar none. It's almost one of those ones that if you said to young kids, "Hey, look, if you want to watch the style of somebody kicking for goal, he is the one." He and probably Charlie Curnow are just absolute ballistic when it comes to their kicking styles. It's so simple. I just love it.
I'd still rather him from 55 than 15, though.
Well, I think there's a lot of like, hey, Christian Petrarca, perfect example from my team, the D's. Like, if anything inside 50, just set up the zone, boys, because there's no chance of him kicking it. But from 50, it is a really weird thing. And if you ever do,
that's a mindset. If you
ever get around with the boys and you want to have a kicking contest, don't do it from 50. Do it from about 25 straight in front, and you watch how bad everybody is, because we just take it for granted.
Get right in their head.
You just get right in their heads. I do have to talk about some players, though. It's I wouldn't say disappointing, but it's like, where are these guys going? I think Parrish probably he almost had a best season, probably, was it 2 years ago when, who got injured? Was it Heppel or Shield? Someone got injured and he had to take over and just blossomed.
Yep.
Merritt, once again, comes second in the BNF last year. Dylan Shield, which you've got a close affiliation to, which we've spoken about offline, as we would say in the corporate world. Like, they're getting enough of it, but they're just not damaging enough with the ball, which is, you do need that guy that's come in, Elijah Tatsis, who's come in with your fifth pick in the draft last year. He hopes to be that guy that can add a bit of polish to that midfield.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sardis, Hobbs, a lot of our high draft picks have been injured, and we haven't get to see much of them. So hopefully they can get on the other side of that, and we get a bit more game time into them. Hobbs probably played a lot last year, but I'm just talking about this pre-season. I think just the mix in there we haven't got right. Every time Shield goes in there, Parrish plays bad. Every time Parrish is in there, Shield plays bad. When they're not playing together, they play well. I just don't know what the right mix is. Hopefully that's something Brad Scott can figure out. But yeah, look, our midfield's not the worst. Like, we haven't got
no. It's not the worst. That's the thing. If you look at it on paper, it's like, it almost needs, it's that horse that just needs that slap on the butt just to really get it going. Yeah, and it feels like that a bit at times.
And the days that we're going, and you think, bloody, how good's this look? We get the ball forward and the outside run, and it just looks really good. And then other days you just think, are they going to get their hands on it at all? Like, are they going to get their hands dirty? What the hell is going on in there? So, look, I'm a bit concerned about Parrish not signing. I think Geelong was going to come sniffing. He's a boyfriend like that way, and they seem to get everyone.
I'm waiting for a call from. I've got nothing to do with Geelong, but they could probably take me as well. They're just taking everybody.
They're definitely the best in the business at the moment, which is nice and frustrating. The good get better, and we keep just plugging away, and yeah, it happens. But look, I'm not overly concerned about our midfield if we can just get the mix right in there. I think Setterfield coming in is really going to help us as well. He changes that dynamic in there a lot. But yeah, we can be really one-paced as well. So looking at it through different glasses there, we can be really slow, or we can be explosive. Like, it's just there's so much. When I look at Essendon, we can be really, really good or really, really bad, and that's what happens. It starts in the midfield, and that's exactly what happens. We can be really good in there or really bad in there, and there's just no consistency of, hey, this week they're going to get in there and get their hands dirty no matter what. I feel like the ground is sort of sloped when we're going well, and you can see them all running forward. So
yeah, but I don't reckon Scotty would let that go. I think that if he sees them not doing what they need to do, that they're going to give him a bit of a whack. Because if you ever look at that North Melbourne teams when he was running them, they didn't have the greatest midfields ever. They had actually a lot of second club players in their midfield, and they were able to get to prelims. So if he can just get an extra 20% out of these players, that's a massive amount. That means it's less work for the back line because they're not always on their toes. They can set up a lot easier. The forwards actually know the ball's going to be coming in quicker, so they can actually lead to where they want to go and not have to try and mark it over their heads, leaning back or at their toes as well too. It just gives them a lot more structure in the way that they play. I do agree. Wiedemann coming in, he won't dominate, but what he will do is he'll be handy to kick his potentially 2 or 3s. He'll have games he'll kick 4 or 5.
Yep.
No doubt about it. I've seen it. And then he might go missing. But if he takes that defender away from right, that's what you want. And if that means 2 people go to right, Wiedemann's actually a pretty good kick in front of goal too as well too. And I want nothing but the best for him because he was just like sapped from – he needed to change, and I think that's the best thing for him as well too. And so new coach, new set of eyes on him, clean slate. Hopefully he'll be able to it's a win-win for us and a win-win for your mob as well too.
Yeah, I think the backup ruck role as well he's going to help out with.
Definitely.
So Peter Wright doesn't have to push up and do that. He can just stay at home and concentrate on clunking them down there and kicking goals. So I think last year we played him as the second ruckman for about the first 5 or 6 rounds.
Yep.
And you could tell after he came out of the ruck, he was just a bit burnt and just didn't really attack the ball as well as he did from round 6 on when we brought Phillips in as a second ruckman there for most of the year and tried Nick Bryan out there. And look, unfortunately for Phillips and Nick Bryan, they might not get as much game time this year. If Wiedemann could fill that role, and that's why they've brought him in to do exactly that. And who knows, if we start struggling down back and Harry Jones starts firing up forward, you might even be able to slot him at centre half back. So he's nice and versatile. And look, yeah, it's worth a roll of the dice, really. So once again, got him for a pack of chips. So why not?
Why not? It's a shame that a couple of years ago you had 3 really high sort of picks. I think it was Jones, Cox, and Perkins. Is that right? The 3 that you picked up?
Reed,
Cox,
and Perkins. Yep.
Yeah. Perkins' biggest mistake was cutting his hair. Okay, he has done the Samson. As soon as he cut his hair, sort of went back. Let it grow, mate. Let it grow and let it throw. Let it throw. Guy Sebastian style. Just let it roll because he can be anything whatsoever. Yep. Cox has been stiff because he was the 2-metre wingman for quite a while that people were saying, oh, is this the new way of doing it? And he just hasn't been able to sort of get back on the park as much. Same with Reed as well too. It's like you start to sit back and go, why can't we? And I'm preaching the converted here. Why can't we get these players on the park? What is it? What is going on that we can't? Because when you've got that much talent and you can't get them on, that's the frustration. It's because you can't, no matter how good your game plan is, if you haven't got the cattle to roll it out, nothing is going to happen. And that's just, I can imagine the frustration of what your supporter group is going through when you just look at the injury list and go, potential, gun when he plays, and you just can't get them out there.
Yeah, well, these 200-plus centimetre guys, like we seem to draft them and have them break down on us all the time. So Gumbleton and a few other guys like that who
Gumbleton, Bell Chambers, Danaher,
yeah. So they like to sit on the sidelines when they're nice and tall and lanky like that. But
yep.
Look, I don't. I see so much, as you said. I see so much talent there. There's just so much talent. But yeah, once again, getting him on the park, getting him to play regular footy, I feel like we just don't develop him well enough.
Yep.
Like you pick up someone like Andy McGrath and you see Taranto and McCluggage 2 and 3, and you see how far they've come in development compared to how far McGrath's come in development. Like McGrath was this. I would have called him the standout in that draft, and that's why we picked him. Leadership skills, all the rest of it. And I feel like he just hasn't progressed. And yeah, I just think it's got something to do with the way we develop it, which I feel like Brad Scott's come in and brought a couple of development coaches with him.
Yeah, he has.
And that's going to sort of hopefully change that sort of that mentality of look, Essendon come in, and when you get to Essendon, your career stops. So,
hey, there's some clubs that didn't even have development coaches, full stop. But you got Caracella there as one of your assistants. Travis Cloak is in there as well too. Refuser. Yeah. Great to see Michael Hurley still at the club. The way that his career finished, like, got to feel sorry for the bloke. Almost lost his leg with everything that went on, and just that the game. I think it was the last game of the year, or the second last game of the year, when he just kicked that goal, and I think Richmond just let him go. It was just a beautiful sight to see, and that's what I love about footy when I see experiences like that when 36 players from on the field just go to this one bloke, or 35 because he can't go to himself. You just give him a pat on the back. That's why you love footy. You got Ben Jacobs there, J Mars there as well too. Brett Stanton's doing his lead shooter. So you've got like names that can develop.
Yep.
You also need to start to think, well, the coaches can only do so much. Do the players want to put in that time? And I'm not picking on them all because we're not here for that. But that's something you got to think about as well. Have we got the players who actually want to dig deep when it's going bad? Because that's when it doesn't matter when you're winning; it's when you're not winning, which is what you're able to see and what brings out the real character in people as well. Too.
Well, they can all play footy, so
you don't get drafted if you can't play footy. We know that.
Yeah, it's all a mindset thing, and was it a professionalism thing at Essendon over the last 7 or 8 years? Probably. I think that's probably where it all sort of stems from. Is are we the most professional club going around? Are we professional like Geelong and Sydney? Absolutely not. And that's a good start. Like if we can start there and get that part right, I think the rest sort of starts to take care of itself.
I think you're right. I think you still had those off-field issues with Sheedy trying to do things and with Hurd, and it's just like you need to just stop that shit.
Yeah, concentrate on footy.
Concentrate on the footy. It's not about you. You've had your time. Move on, please.
Yeah.
Can I focus on one thing? I want to focus on one guy I absolutely love, Sam Draper. Like, there's a guy who loves the club, breathes for this club, wants to play for this club. Massive goal. I'll look at him and go, he's the next Max Gawn. If I could pick anybody out that he could play. Like, he has the capability to be the next best ruckman in the league.
Yep. Similar sort of pathway to Gawn. That's as soon as I was sort of trying to compare him to someone from the past as well. Not from the past, but, from that era when he was 19, 20, 21 coming through, I thought of Gawn straight away, a larrikin as well. And just loves the club and breathes the club. And, mate, he's going to, if he can work on his kicking a little bit, apart from that, I think he's almost a complete package as a ruckman comes. And his aggression, like he's just nice and hard at the ball. And we haven't got many players like that. So, he's a bit of a type of jump on my back and follow me type of player. And I love him.
He's as long as he doesn't do 2 ACLs like Max did, that's what you want, because he's his own man. He's got a cracking mo. He's got the mullet that just flows.
The big mullet.
Like the Yarra. Oh, absolutely love it. Hey, another guy that sort of caught my eye a bit last year too was Mr. Mason Redmond. Now, besides the man bun, which we're not going to critique because I'm not a man bun guy, but he really did sort of hold that back line down with Ridley quite a fair bit towards last year. Ridley, I just think, is amazing from a backman's perspective. So you've got 2 there, and then Laverde, I think, was probably at his most consistent. Would you say it was his most consistent year last year as well?
Oh, definitely. Well, it's the first time he actually got to stay in the park for a whole year. So
he played every single game last year with Draper, Heppel, and 2 metre Peter.
Yeah, which is unreal, because you said that a couple of years ago, and Heppel and Laverde playing every game. Mate, I'll be going, you're kidding yourself. The Red Dog, unreal. He's I don't know if you got the stats there, but his disposal efficiency last year was just through the roof. Coming off halfback, you need guys that can actually hit targets and do what he does. And once again, another aggressive player, goes hard at the ball, puts his head over it, another jump on my back and follow me type of guy. So I think he probably should have won our BNF last year if he didn't miss a couple of games. I think he got COVID and missed a game, and then might have missed a game just after that. And our BNF works on, you have to play every game pretty much to win it. So Laverde just plays undersized every week. Unreal effort. We really need to get someone back there that can actually help him out. And who was the other one you mentioned there? Ridley. Ridley's just a star, mate. He's a star in the making. Won our BNF at 20 or 21. I think last year wasn't one of his better years. Compared to the year before, which we're putting him on a pretty high pedestal, he wasn't quite at those lofty heights. The reason probably being is he had to do more of a lockdown role last year. He needs to just be that third man up. Let him fly. Let him do what he does best, and just and get off the hook and come across the pack and take those marks. He's a great intercept mark, but he's not. He's probably not the lockdown type of defender that we want. We don't want him to be that. So if we can get Zerk Thatcher He played a few good games towards the end of the year there. If he can be that guy that's more of a lockdown there, and Laverde can keep playing tall, I think Ridley's going to, he's in for an absolute cracker of a year again. So,
and that's what we were talking about, Zach Reed. If you've got that 202 centimetre literal centre half back,
play on guys like Max King and stuff like that.
What does that do? And when we, as we develop this conversation, minute by minute, in the things that we're talking about, it seems to be people are doing jobs that they should really not be doing because you've got key pillars that have been out, whether it's from a forward perspective, whether it's been a midfield perspective. Laverde, like I said, plays tall, but you really want a 202 centimetre bloke to come in to play on the tall, so then he can take the third, which means really can go and do his job. And I got to see him live 2 years ago. It might have been his BNF year, and it was a game at the MCG where we just got over the line, but mate, it blew my mind just how good he is down back. Like
silk.
He is absolute silk for you. What would we say about the package? Is he a little bit return to sender at the moment? Is he? What are your hopes? Because when he's on, he's on. But when he's not on,
it's frustrating. Look, he's one of those guys that could be anything. You just don't know, do you? Like he probably needs his contract to be up every year so we can
1 year contracts, mate. We're putting on 1 year contracts
so we can see the best out of him. But look, I think his body has let him down a bit. I actually ran into him a couple of nights ago at an Essendon function and just said, how's the body been? He said, mate, it was absolutely flying until about 2 weeks ago. Feeling great, everything was going well, and he goes, just a little niggle, but it seems to happen year in, year out. So look, when he's up and going, geez, you just love him, don't you? Like, everyone loves to hate him.
Everybody loves to hate him. I reckon it's another case of STS, the old shit tat syndrome. As soon as he got that massive gorilla on his guts, it all went backwards. Let's be honest. That's what happened. When he got the big eight. Oh, it's a shocker. But we've seen him just take games on out of the middle and turn it around. And again, another situation where things shouldn't have occurred, but they have. And can I mention? There's one guy I love. I watched him last year a bit as well too. Ben Hobbs. Like, we were talking about who could potentially be your next captain in a few years' time. I don't know, but there's something about that kid. If he gets it right, he's one of those ones that he's a jump on my back type of player.
Yeah, look, I don't want to put the pressure on him like that.
No, don't. Oh, you can. He's going to listen to this, and he's
absolutely.
got no idea. But Teddy's got his. He knows what's going on.
It reminds me of a really young Joel Selwood. Like, if he could have half the career that he had, like, it's going to be amazing. So, he's just got that, in and under, puts his head over it. Just doesn't have as much care for his body as I do anyway. Yep. I don't put my head over the ball. But
not everybody can be a bulldozer. Some of us have to provide. Some of us are Rolls Royces. You don't park a Rolls Royce on an excavation site. No, we just sit on the outside and make everyone else look good.
Yeah, get the nice cheap ones at the back. He's just one of those blokes who you just know is going to give everything. Absolutely everything, and leave it all out in the field. And we saw that a few times last year. And I remember we got dropped for a game last year, and I was like, what the bloody hell are they doing? Like, why are they dropped? Just get games into this kid. I think someone was laid out, and he came on as a sub. And, I don't think he's going to get dropped again.
And we literally said the same thing. I think that might have even got a drag on the Barassi files on the Tuesday night show when I said Biden Hobbs got dropped. Literally, you've got 23 spots to play with, and you couldn't find a guy who's busting his chops every week.
Yeah.
But it was almost a bit of a tale of that. It was like there was some strange decisions being made throughout the year, and you just sort of go, look, as soon as it was over, it was the best thing for us.
Yeah, the quicker last year could be over and done with, the better for us, definitely.
Well, let's have a chat about your games. Now, we're going to talk about the Liz Smiley ski double-ups, who you play twice. You've got the 16th ranked hardest draw, which for a team that ended up quite lowly on the ladder, that's totally understandable. You got Collingwood twice, Geelong twice, GWS, North, Port Adelaide, and West Coast. Now, we'll look at that now, and it's either going to be actually really good, or it could be, that's not as easy as I thought it would be. And because we don't know what type of Collingwood's going to turn up. Are they going to be if they play very similar to last year, have they improved that much, or is it going to be another set of tight games? Geelong, we don't know what Geelong's, are they still going to be at that level, or are they going to drop a bit? We just don't know. It hasn't been really convincing from the preseason so far. GWS, I know they're not going to make it easy, and with Adam Kingsley as a new coach, he's not going to allow them to make it easy as well. North Melbourne, you think that they'd get better under Clarkson, but I would assume that you'd beat both of them. Port Adelaide, which one's going to turn up? And West Coast, they had a shocking year last year, COVID affected, etc. You can only assume are going to be better as well too. So it's not the easiest set of double ups that you would have. Yeah. It's a really, there's easily 10 wins there, in my opinion, but there's also 10 losses in there as well too. It just depends on, I don't think it's more about you. I think it's more about what condition are the opponents going to be, especially GWS, North, Port, West Coast.
Yep. You don't know what you get out of West Coast again. They could, they're not going to have a season like they had last year.
You can't. The law of averages says they can't, but on the flip side, Collingwood should not have the season that they had with those many close games. Like, how many Jamie Elliott's, how many Essendon supporters, how many Essendon players, does it take to stop Jamie Elliott in the last 5 seconds of a game?
You could see that unfolding.
More than 2.
You could see that unfolding from a mile away. I was sitting there just going, oh, here it goes. And you just
were you at the game?
Yeah, mate.
I was watching that and I've just gone, oh, no.
Yeah.
As soon as he marked it, it was just like, oh, no, they couldn't do it again.
As soon as Jones missed, I said, oh, no, here we go. Let's move forward. Looking at 2023.
But I know you got to have a bit of a laugh at it as well too. Like, they did it so often. But look, it's going to be interesting because I personally think you're going to be better. I think you're going to be better. You've got a guy running the show. He's got a career average of 50% too. And if you have a look at those last couple of seasons at North, there wasn't much chop, but there were seasons that he had. I think some of his percentage rates were 60%. 60%, 50%. So it was always above pretty much par for the season for virtually all his career. So if you can win 11 games, which is 50%, you're in a good shot. So 11 and a half because we've got the gather round, which we all forget about.
Yeah. Look, no doubt he's done pretty well with what he had there. I just comes down for Essendon's injuries. Like I feel like every year we're missing some really key pillars, and we don't have enough to back that up. So, we haven't got the guys in place who can just bring someone in. If we lose a Laverde all of a sudden, who are we going to have playing in the back line? So, looking at our draw, I can see us being 3-1 or 4-0, but then I can see us also being 4-10 after that. So, look, Hawks, Gold Coast, and Kildare Giants here. You'd want to win those if you any sort of chance to not win the wooden spoon.
It's a nice test earlier on, isn't it? Because it's a nice sort of grouping around who you like. Hawthorn could go either way. Gold Coast at home, I would tip you to win that one.
They do start their season very well, though.
They do, but it's at your deck, the fast deck at Marvel.
Yeah, under the roof, where we like it. Where we like it.
Kilda away at Marvel.
Yep.
And GWS at home. So, you're right. You've got 1 at the G and 3 on your deck. You're right. You could be 4-0.
Could be. We could also be 0-4. And
no, you're not going to be 0-4.
And looking at the draft, thinking, who's there for us?
Who have we got? It was interesting when you were talking about depth.
Yep.
There's only 10 players that have played over 100 games on your list.
Yeah, we are a very young list.
You are young, and sometimes I think we forget about that.
Yeah, I think last year Adelaide were the only ones younger than us.
Yep.
And I think this year Hawthorn are the only ones younger than us. So, and they did a big cull, as we know. Look, you got to be around that, 100 to 150 games to you start developing everything you need at that level, at the AFL level. So, Look, it's not all doom and gloom, and Brad Scott's got a lot to work with.
Yes.
We've just got to get that whole mental side out of the game, where we're not good enough to win, blah blah blah, all that type of stuff. I'm sure they don't run out there and think that, but it just sometimes looks like that when they do run out there.
They need a taste, don't they? They need to have a bit of a taste and get some victories in those first couple of weeks just to go, okay, yeah, it is. You just need to start it off on a positive.
Anything can happen from there. Like last year, we got Melbourne, Geelong, and Brisbane, I think, the first 3 games, who all finished top 4 the year before. So we were no chance to get off to a good start.
You really got to sit back and go, who puts that fixture together?
It was tough. Then you lose Tipper Woody and Hooker, who kicked our most goals the year before, and you sort of walked into that game, and now knowing that Geelong went on and won the flag that year, we're up to a height. We're hiding it's nothing there. So, look, if we can, even if they're messy, if we can scrap together a couple of early wins, who knows? Like the confidence in young blokes. Look, I'm sure Craig McRae wasn't sitting there last year with the team he had saying, "Look, we're not going to make the 8. We're not going to make finals." Like we're going to
have a crack, boys. We're going to have a crack, and we're going to see what happens. Exactly. And just enjoy the journey, which I can't stand at saying enjoying the journey because everybody's enjoying the journey. Let's just put the balls to the wall and see what happens. Now, Tipper's back, which is good.
Yep.
I haven't sort of keeping too many tabs on him. What's he looking like at the moment, fitness-wise, etc.?
Mate, not too bad. Not too bad. I've caught a couple of pracky matches, been down and seen a couple of trainings. Look, he's not 100%. Like he's not at the fitness he was in 2019, running around like demolishing backlines. But is he ever going to get back to that? Is the question. Now we've got the sub. It wouldn't be a bad idea just to throw the green jacket on him, and if we can get him on sometime halfway through the third quarter and just let him rip, that might be his go for the first 5 or 6 games until.
And that's all that you may need. Exactly right. And you know what? If we want to take it one step further, like goodness gracious, you got the 50-50 split of the Davey twins.
Yep, unreal.
A little bit jealous.
Unreal getting there.
We got Aaron. We didn't get him. You get Alwyn, and you get 2 absolute rippers, and they can play too.
There's a couple more on the way apparently too. So we'll see what happens there. But look, from all reports, Jade is just as good as Alwyn, and unfortunately done a couple of knees, and can't wait to see him develop in the next couple of years. But from what we've seen from Alwyn so far, like he's just got got poise, and he's got something a little bit special about him. And just he only has to get the ball 10 times in a game, and we're going to see some things. So excited about him, and Tipper being back and just moulding him into an AFL footballer. I think that's one of the massive reasons he did come back. We've got the Davey boys, Mankara, Wanganeen on our list, and he can just sort of help these guys come through, and hopefully in 3 or 4 years' time when Tipper is hanging up the boots, or might be a couple of years' time when he hangs the boots.
Yep.
He can sit back and go, I helped these young guys get to this point. So,
what more do you want? What more do you want? So, who's somebody that if we look back and we go, oh, hold on, I didn't see this, but if I'd actually taken some time and write this down when Teddy was talking to Peps on the 2023 Essendon season preview, who's someone from the list at the moment that maybe not many people know about that you've sort of caught your eye? There's a bit of a glisten, a bit of a sparkle that's got, I reckon he could be a player by then.
Yeah, well, look, I'm probably looking at more our mid-season draft picks that we've got. I think we've done really, really well over the mid-season draft and the SSP. Probably better than the top 10 picks that we've got.
No, there's clubs that have really, really Collingwood have been someone who's nailed it. You've done really well with it as well too. Hawthorn got John Newcomb out of it a couple of years ago. So the mid-season one and also the SSPs, I see a really good place for them. Out of those, there's obviously someone you want to mention because
So I've got probably 2. So Massimo D'Ambrosio.
Yes.
I can just see stud-like qualities. I shouldn't, I should wash my mouth out saying that name around.
It's all right. It's all right.
As an Essendon supporter, but
it's okay. It's all right.
We're in a safe space here, so that's all right.
We're in a safe space. Remember, Paddy Ryder came back.
Yeah,
Paddy Ryder's back at the club.
He did. So, a few people aren't happy about that, but I love having him back. He's great. Massimo and another one, Jai Menzies. So two mid-season drafts. They both come together in that mid-season draft. Funny that Tipper actually retired and we got an extra pick and picked one of these guys up with his pick. and now he's back. So that's kind of come full circle there, and that's nice. But yeah, Massimo off the back line, nice left foot.
Did he have a knee injury when they drafted him? There was something about him that they went, he was injured or something. It was going to take a bit of time for him to get back on the park, but it came around a lot quicker than they thought.
Yeah, so they thought he was going to miss a month or so or 6 weeks, and end up playing his first senior game about 9 days later. So, he's just put everything together he needs to over the preseason. He's looking fit. All the match sim I've seen him, he's just absolutely flying. So, and Jai Menzies is a little small forward there. Like, we were screaming out for small forwards last year. We had no one when the ball hit the ground, and that was our game plan: kick it long and it hit the ground a lot. And now all of a sudden we've got Davey, Menzies, and Tipper all fighting for the same spot. So, Jai Menzies, he just seems to find the goals, which is what we need. So, look, really excited to see them two guys play, and I'd say that they're in their best 22 come round one, no problems at all.
Well, we'll find out later this week, won't we? Because it is going to be round one kicking off. When's your first game? Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Yep, Sunday, the traditional home for Essendon. They always play a lot of Saturday night, Sunday games, don't they, Essendon?
Mate, well, I think we've got
no Friday nights. I know that one for sure. They've said that a few times on the TV leading up to round one.
70% of our games are Sundays, so I'm going to be having a few Monday mornings off, I reckon.
Oh, nice. Now, who unfortunately is going to be finishing up this year? Who on the list are you looking at going? And it could be for greater opportunity at another club, or Father Time has just caught up with them and it's time to move on and enjoy your future endeavours.
Yeah, I think Father Time's starting to catch Heppel, unfortunately. Look, he's been absolutely amazing for the club, and someone we really needed to be around the boys, and bring us through, under Watson.
Yep,
bring us through what we went through, and really take over from where Watson was. Unfortunately, his body just lets him down way too much. He had a really good year last year and got in the park quite a bit. But yeah, he's just he's injured again now. Going to miss a couple more weeks. There's guys in his spot, like they tried to push him out to wing. We've got guys like Durham and Martin out in the wing. Do you take away opportunity of those guys? Keep playing Heppel.
Yep.
It's tough. Like, it's a tough one. You don't want to send these guys off into the abyss too early. But look, even when the D's on the flag, poor old Jonesy missed out, and it's just
it's just one of those things. And I reckon Heppel, because he's on a 1 year contract. Is that correct?
Yep.
I reckon they would have said to him, you're not going to get as much game time.
We need
you to be here from a leadership perspective.
100%. Yep.
And here we go. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, we could really
what he loves. He knows that there's going to be opportunity based on history of injuries, etc. But if he can just show the standards to these young guys and say, look, this is what it takes, and learn from me, because I've realised what we didn't get to, and this was why. It's another coach. On-field coach, even if it's in the twos. Hey, run here, do this.
He needs to be different. He needs to be there for merit.
Yep, does. So, he just needs to sort of take some. He can't do the press conference. I've got it. I'll go and do it. Just those sort of things that can just take a pressure off of a new guy. That merit once again. Have a look at last year's Brownlow. He had 17 votes in the Brownlow again last year. He's had 111 for his career, so he does rack them up. Having that on his mind as well as being a captain, it just means that, if he's got someone as a mentor for him, perfect. Absolutely perfect. All righty, Teddy, let's have a look at this. We're going to now take your Essendon hat off. I want you to have a look at the league. I want you to have a look at the 18 teams, including yours as well, too. Who do you think is going to rise up the ladder? Now, when I say rise, it could be anybody in the bottom 8 moving up. It could be somebody in the top 8 moving up. Who do you sort of see maybe shaping it a little bit this year, who's going to give their supporters a bit of a smile throughout 2023?
Yeah, well, I can't see Brisbane finishing 6th again. They were in the top couple all year and just happened to stitch themselves up a little bit at the end of the year there. So, look, I wouldn't call it a rise because they're in the 8 already. But, look, I'm probably looking over South Australia at both the Adelaide clubs.
Ooh, okay.
I don't really know what you're going to get from Port. 11th last year. They finished the season really, really well. I think they smashed us, and they might have smashed Adelaide as well. But they've topped up over the preseason with a couple of players. They won't be 0-5 again.
No, they went 10-7 in the last obviously 17 games of the year after losing their first 5 and missed out on finals by 2 games, but had the best percentage of any team outside of the 8. So when they were winning well. They just had a bad start to the season. And they get Juan Francis and Junior Rioli in there. That is going to give them a bit of grunt in the midfield too, which is.
I think Junior's going to be huge, and if they can get Orazio on the park, I loved watching him around in their red and black. But if we can get him fit and running around with Junior out there, that just makes that forward line really potent. Now, obviously they lost Robbie Gray, but
but they got this guy named Rosie.
Yes,
you lose Gray, you bring in they've got those. They've got the 3 that they picked up a couple of years ago: Butters, Rosie, and I always forget the third one. Dersma.
Yeah, so
perfect.
I can see them having a minimum of 13 wins. Looking through their fixture, which gets them into the 8 anyway.
Perfect.
And then Adelaide, I just feel like Adelaide. I don't know. They beat last year Richmond, Dogs, and Carlton, I think, from the memory, and maybe even Port after the siren that game.
Yep.
They lost to Freo by a point. They've just got to start beating some more sides around them. So if they can do that, I can see them going from 14th to maybe 8th or 9th. I don't see them going really high up, but it's a big step for them from 14th to 9th with a young list like that.
And they've got a cracking forward line as well. You look at Fogarty,
Rankin.
Fogarty, Tex is still down there. Thilthorpe, Rankin, Rochelle.
Yep.
There's 5, and if you want to slot anybody else running through that midfield as well too, they're in a really good position. They're going to make teams' backlines really work. And if Rankin can produce, and not just be the hype machine, you're right. He can win games off his own boot. They won, they win last year, 8. They get another 4, and they're in the chance to make the 8. And there's potentially 4 more games that they can win out of that as well. So you're right. I reckon they're a massive shot for the 8. I don't think I've got them in mind.
Yeah, I think I've got them just missing out. I think I've got them about 9.
Just missing out. And Port, I think I've got them just missing out or getting 8th spot. I still think there's a bit of class above.
Yep. I can't see anyone rising from 12th, 13th to 2nd. I just can't see it being one of those years. But look, you say that every year, and all of a sudden someone pops up. So
I've actually said for some reason, I can't believe I said this about 4 years ago, that the Saints are going to make the 8. I said that. I'm not too sure I'm going to take that one back too. So I might have to take that one back. But I've also said that the Tigers won't make it, and I've also said that that Collingwood won't make it either.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on the Pies. I don't think they'll make it. You can't have another year with that many close games. They beat Essendon by 9 and 4 points, Carlton by 4 and 1, Hawthorn by 4, Giants by 11, Suns by 5, North by 7, Adelaide by 5, Port by 6, and they all missed out on the 8.
Yep.
So, that's 10 wins.
They didn't really beat anybody in the 8. Oh, they beat my club twice, but they didn't really beat anybody in that 8 range. They were all lower case. So, and I think most of those teams are going to get better as well too, so they're not going to do it again. All right, who's going to be sliders? Who can you see sliding, out of the top 4, out of the 8, sliding all the way down to cellar dweller time, and potentially even pick up a wooden spoon?
I think the Hawks are going to be the wooden spooners.
Yeah,
so I think they're going to. They don't have to slide too far, but just that whole list clean out, mate. That's what they've set themselves for, full rebuild. As I just said before, Collingwood, I think they're going to slide a bit. It's really tough because I kind of look at it and I feel like that everyone's improved except for maybe Essendon, but I feel like
no. I feel like everyone players on the park. You could be anything. We've spoken about that. So it's sort of too early to tell. But
are the Dogs
interesting? Some people say that they're going to climb.
Yeah.
Some people. The good one that I heard, and this was going back quite a number of weeks ago, and it might have been the Sydney one, or it might have been the Geelong one. They said one of the new experienced coaches who have come back it's going to be a catastrophic failure. So it's either going to be North, St Kilda, Essendon.
Yep.
He reckons it's going to be one of those 3, and he predominantly fixed on St Kilda and North. One of those is going to fail miserably.
Yeah, well, North don't have to do too much more.
No, they don't, because they've only won 2 games.
Probably another one that might slide is maybe just because of the stat. I'm just going by history here of a team that gets beaten and smashed in the grand final. Don't usually go too well a year after. Look, I think Sydney are a really good side, and they've got some absolute guns in that midfield and young guns. I can't see it happening, but going on history, look, who knows? Who knows? It's a mental game. It's a mental game.
You're not the only one who said that. They've got probably the best lot of kids running around in any team. But are they scarred? I don't know. Longmire's just that Swiss Army knife. He just whenever he needs to pull the toothpick, he can, and whenever he needs to file.
No, we didn't think they were going to make the grand final last year, did we? Didn't think. Well, I didn't. I had them about 8 last year. So
I didn't. No, I thought my mob were, but then we fell on deaf ears, and then I thought, okay, Richmond will come back, and they didn't as well too. So it's amazing the way to look at it now. Who is going to be the grand poobah? Who's going to be sitting at the end of the season with a beautiful silver cup in their hands, holding it aloft in front of their supporters at the G in the last Saturday in September?
I can only see 3 teams winning it. So I can only see either Brisbane, the Cats again, or the D's. They're the only 3 teams I can see winning it.
Fair enough.
And let's just hope that COVID doesn't strike and they move the grand final again, because I reckon you guys have just about etched your name on it already.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that, because if it goes again, no.
I think you guys are just even looking at pre-season form, but you don't read too much into that. But even before those games, you just kind of see it like, you have a bit of once again, you get bashed up in a grand final. You don't quite have the year the next year that you want to have, and then you come back because you fix you fix those little holes in your chain, or the chinks in the chain there. So look,
those are in the finals. You don't want to do that again. And look,
I'm red hot in the D's, mate. Red hot in them.
And I'll just one thing that's come out of it. And this is once again because my team. When 2018 happened and they got smashed in the prelim, you remember they didn't even kick a goal before half time.
Yeah,
they didn't even go back and look at that. This year they went back and basically analysed everything. What went wrong from on-field, off-field, health, etc., and they just pulled everything apart and then basically fixed it. So they've learned from their mistakes from years ago. Just let's move on from it. Doesn't work that way. There is a reason for it. And what were they vulnerable? And hopefully they've picked up their vulnerabilities as well too. But look, it's really nice to hear. But I would say that the one that I'm looking at is Brisbane, just by who they've brought in. But theirs is all going to be between the ears. They've got the midfield, they've got the back line, they've got the forward line. Connor McKenna is going to be absolutely sensational for them. But I don't know. I just don't know. This is why it's the best game in the world, because it's just awesome. Now, you've got a business, haven't you?
I do.
Tell everybody about it, because, we don't want to just always talk about podcasts, what people have got going. We've got supporters who've got businesses and livelihoods. Tell everybody about who you are, what you've got from a business perspective, and if they're in the need, who to call.
Yeah, so Supergates Automation and Fencing for all your automation and fencing needs.
Yep.
Pretty much we do an aluminium slat product, which is called a Fenstar product. We can do all your gates and front fencing and all that. But look, we've got DIY kits online which you can get. If you want to do your own front fence, jump onto supergates.com.au and buy the DIY kits, and we'll show you how to do it all.
Oh, absolute superstar. And I'll have a link in the show notes down for you all as well too. So if you haven't got a pen right now, don't pull the car over or get your phone out, because I don't want this podcast costing you $600 and 4 demerit points. We'll just rewind it at the 53-minute mark. Just rewind it 20 seconds and you'll get the web address. But hey, Teddy, you've been an absolute superstar. For anybody who doesn't know, this is the second time that we've had to do this, because the first time we had some bad connectivity issues, but the great man got back to me, said, I'm back in Melbourne. Let's get this one done. And it's been an absolute joy to have a chat to you. You love your club through and through, and that's what footy's all about. You love your club, you love the game. It's respect shown, to everybody, and we appreciate you, and I appreciate you coming on board. So, Teddy, the great man from supergates.com.au. I got that right, didn't I?
Perfect.
Essendon supporters, that's your 2023 season preview. I think if everything goes okay from an injury perspective, you'll be pushing the top part of the bottom 8. I can see that happening. But it could be quite low in the bottom half of the bottom 8 if you don't get the injuries back. So fingers crossed. We want a strong Essendon, not too strong, because we want the supporters to keep their head on it, but we want a good list. But most importantly, Teddy, I have one simple question for you, and this is it. How do you want your footy?
Is there any other way? Lace out.
Oh, he loves it, lace out. And I want my gates, supergates.com.au. Have a great week, listeners, and good luck with round 1.
Thanks, Pep.
Thanks for listening to our latest episode. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on iTunes. I'm your host, Chris Pepper, and with Jamie Wallis, we give you your footy how you want it. Peace out.